Now, the ballots have yet to be cast, but there's already sentiment about how people feel. Apparently, sentiments are gradually declining online when it comes to the ANC and the Democratic Alliance, while the Economic Freedom Fighters has managed to steadily increase its positive sentiments among voters. So what's driving this? Digital analyst Carmen unpacks the numbers. All right, Carmen, thank you very much for your time, and thank you for joining us. Now, we know that, the ANC has been steadily declining. A lot of people had a lot of hashtags that were basically against the ANC in the past year or so, obviously because of some of the corruption that's happening there. What else can you tell us with the numbers there?
I'm in total agreement with what you're saying. Just alone today on The Citizen, a big story on the front page, over 1.5 trillion rands worth of corruption happened by the ANC since 2014 to 2019. This is affecting the numbers dramatically. If we started doing analysis with Meltwater, and we started actually looking at the various municipalities, and we chose a few. So we chose Johannesburg, Ekurhuleni, Tshwane, Durban, Bloemfontein and Western Cape. What we are seeing is that from the sentiments and what's in the research, that we are possibly looking at a lot of coalitions to happen during these elections. ANC is not popular, DA is not popular. There is a big possibility that DA might lose Western Cape or might have a coalition. Action SA it's got the highest sentiment there, as well as ANC. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens there. But when we look at Bloemfontein, Action SA again is doing exceptionally well there with positive sentiment. Negative sentiment, the highest is the DA. The underdog here is ANC, because ANC has the less communication, or where people are still impartial and haven't made a decision how they're going to talk about the various views that they have on service delivery. So we're waiting to see what's going to happen there. Johannesburg is going to be interesting. We might have a coalition because it's a constant play between Action SA and DA, but where the ANC is in danger in Johannesburg, but also if we look at Action SA, they've got the lowest neutrality. And what this means is that having a high positive sentiment, and a lot of people have spoken up, it looks very good for Action SA.
Action SA is obviously going to be one of those parties that are seemingly going to surprise us during these elections. It is a new kid on the block, but its president is not new in politics. He has been mayor in Johannesburg. But I'm interested to know what the sentiment is for the DA in an area like KZN, especially after those posters in Phoenix.
Sure, let me just quickly look. So if we look at Durban, so we monitored Durban, the DA actually has the highest positive sentiment currently in Durban, but it's going to be interesting to see what happens after the weekend. Then Action SA, but also the highest negative sentiment is Action SA and DA. So it might turn completely in a different direction. It looks more positive for Action SA, and it could be a coalition. But we have to look at what the data is telling us in terms of online conversations. The challenge that we might face with Action SA is the ballot issue. The voters and the logo and all the court has just declined the appeal for the ballot papers. So there might be issues there that is also going to influence how people are going to vote, especially because it's a new party. People are not familiar with the branding, etc. And this might have a negative influence on how people are going to vote as well.
I found it quite interesting when you said that in Johannesburg, positivity is around Action SA with the DA, and that might result in a coalition. I mean, that would mean Herman Mashaba has to work with the DA again.
Yes, that could be a possibility. But I mean, everything is going to change. We saw what happened, and you just spoke about it recently. What happened yesterday on Gareth Cliff's show. John Steenhuisen was just sitting there saying nothing in this conversation, and this might change the sentiment completely. If I had to think about mothers who have daughters, how if you just think of people in poverty, how would they feel with hearing things like that? So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But some of the big concerns that is coming up through the data is that people are not going to vote based on wards. We went to go and look at the IEC's website traffic. Very little traffic is going to understand the various wards. It's going to be dependent on how these leaders position themselves in the public domain through their rallies and their public behavior. We've seen a lot of things going down towards the build-up. Voter apathy. People don't know who to vote for anymore. Are they going to show up to vote? People don't like to see the sentiments. Some people are like, what does this mean for South Africa? But if you really want to make an impact, then you need to show up and vote. We are cocooning as human beings, meaning we want to stay inside our homes. We don't want to go outside. We need a reason to go outside. So this is something that concerns me a lot. Also, the youth, are they going to show up? So it's going to be an interesting couple of days after the elections to see what happens there.